Hi everyone, this video is going to take the place of our meeting this week. I'm sorry I can't meet with you in person. So I'm just going to go over the new unit. We would have started unit 2 today, or tomorrow I guess, but obviously I won't be able to go over it with you. So I'm just going to give you an overview of the assignments and tell you what I want you to work on for next week so that we can get started on stuff next week a little bit easier. So this is what Unit 2 looks like. It's been open. Actually, I think I opened it yesterday. And you can see the new schedule here, and I'll give you the paper copy when I come in. So we're working on the argument unit. And the argument paper will be the next paper that we work on, but we're going to have 2 units, so 4 weeks that we'll be working on this one. So this unit is an off week, or an off unit. You do not have an essay due during this unit. Instead, we'll be working on some other things. Some of it will be review from Comp 1, and some of it will be a little bit new, working on things, looking at things a little bit deeper. So you have another quiz to take. The Unit 2 readings are right here. Unit 2 readings are covering the first chapter of the textbook, which is the 4 pillars of argument. You are writing a 4-pillar argument essay, and so this is a particularly important chapter to pay attention to. And then you're also going to read a section out of your Rules for Writers book on supporting your thesis. Most of this will be review, but it's something that you did not read in Comp 1, and so sometimes reading it in a different way from a different book gives you different perspective and can kind of help you out a little bit. So once you've done those readings, you'll take the quiz, and so you should do that before next class if you can. And then I want you to review the argument essay. So the argument essay that we're working on is going to be a standard 4-pillar argument. The textbook will explain to you a little bit more about what the 4 pillars are and why we have the 4 pillars and what you need for each of the 4 pillars. But that is the basis of your grade, will be on whether or not you constructed a 4-pillar argument. Rather than having you choose just any argument topic like we did in Comp 1, I am limiting your topic to something about higher education, specifically topics that have supporting articles in the textbook. And the reason is because I want you to save all your research energy again for that big research paper. So these first 2 essays that we're doing, the topics will be a little bit more limited because I don't want you doing a lot of outside research. So instead, we're going to be focusing on things where we can use our textbooks to support our ideas. So these are the questions that you can ask our topic starters. And so the first thing I want you to do is go through this list of topic starters and decide what interests you the most. And all of these topic starters have articles in the textbook, multiple articles that can help support multiple viewpoints on them. And so that's why they're topic starters that you can choose for this essay. So you will write your essay over essentially one of these topics. Most students are interested in this first one, whether or not the college education is worth the money, and then looking at the student loan debt burden, because obviously those tend to be a little bit more personal. You guys graduating from high school, going into college, have a lot of big decisions to make about where you're going to go and how you're going to get the finances to do that. And so those tend to be topics that students really find a lot of personal connection with. So, but it's entirely up to you. There's a section on free speech. It's kind of interesting. And there's some information. There's online versus classroom education. If you're more interested in the going green kind of topic, they have some articles about that. There's safety at college. And then if you're interested more in what students should study, there's a whole section on whether or not it's a good idea to study the humanities. The humanities are things that we consider like soft skills type education. So communication, sociology, anthropology, those types of classes that are not skill-based or tech-based. And then what you're going to do, once you've decided on your topic, you're going to write a 5-paragraph essay over it. So you're going to choose your topic and then take a position on the topic. The 4 pillars, which, again, the textbook chapter we'll talk about are your thesis, your evidence, an opposing viewpoint, or the refutation to the opposing viewpoint, and then the conclusion. So you have to have all 4 pillars in there. So it will feel like the argument essay that we wrote for Comp 1, except a little bit shorter because you only need 5 paragraphs. So you'll have your introduction paragraph, 2 body paragraphs supporting your idea, 1 body paragraph that addresses an opposing viewpoint, and then your conclusion, and that's all you need. You can obviously write more than that, but most students will stick with kind of the 5 paragraphs. You'll notice the length, 2 to 4 pages, were only a little bit longer than the previous essay. It's intended to be a short argument. As far as sources are concerned, you're going to use 2 out of the textbook. So 2 textbook articles, which means that your topic needs to be one that has a supporting article, preferably 2 that are pretty obviously supporting your ideas. But you would be surprised that, if you only have to use the source once. So don't get so hung up on whether or not the entire article supports your idea. We're mainly looking for the information in those articles. And so you might find a statistic in an article about something relatively different from yours that you can use, and that's fine. You're going to also have 1 direct quote and 1 paraphrase. So we are going to increase the documentation requirements for this essay and make it a little bit more specific, but most of it's just practice because we want to make sure that you are really, really comfortable with documentation by the time we get to that research paper. You can, if you want to, use outside research. I'm trying to limit you to 1 source outside of the textbook. It's not required, but sometimes I have students who they can't find the information that they really want. I've had a couple of students do the gap year idea as their topic, which is fine, but I think there's only 1 article in the textbook that actually talks specifically about gap years, and so they need an outside article to support their ideas, and that's fine. So you can, if you want to just use the textbook articles, you can use 2 minimum. That's the minimum number. That's fine. You'll have a works cited page, and you can use first person pronouns in this essay. You can use your own college experience as part of your evidence. Now, you guys, being high school students taking classes primarily online through community college, don't have as much college experience as other students, but you can talk about what if you're planning to do a specific major, if there's a reason you chose that major, a reason you chose a specific path. So like if you are planning to go to a specific university because of their program or because you get a scholarship or whatever, that might be relevant personal experience to include in your essay. So it's up to you whether you do that. So that's the essay itself. The first thing I want you to do so after you've taken the quiz and kind of sat down and looked at the essay assignment, then you're going to start working on this pre-writing journal. Ideally, you will have entry 1 and 2 done before next class. So the quiz and the first 2 entries of the pre-writing journal, that will get you a good start to what we're working on. So the pre-writing journal is going to feel similar to some of the pre-writing stuff that we did in Comp 1. And I'm sure we did one that looked very similar to this, but we're following the examples in the textbook. So in our new textbook. So there's some pages in practical argument with examples, but the first thing you're going to do is a free write. We would have done this in class. You can do this on your own. Basically, you can choose one of the prompts if you want to, or you can kind of follow the ideas that I have written out here. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Write everything you can think about when it comes to higher education, purpose of college education, and then anything from those questions on the assignment sheet that kind of sparked any ideas for you. Write everything down. Remember, free writes are just a mass of whatever thoughts are in your head. You don't have to think about grammar. You don't have to worry about punctuation. Just get it out and on the paper. You're going to be typing this. And then the second thing you'll do is a focus brainstorm or cluster map. And so a cluster map is going to be that, remember, with the circle in the middle and the branching ideas. You can hand draw this if you want to, and then just take a picture and put the picture in your Word document. That's fine. You can also do it in Word with the shapes. That's also fine. So it's up to you. I would go ahead and, if you're going to hand draw it and take a picture, I would go ahead and just drop the picture file in the Word document. That way you don't have any issues with the image file not going through Canvas. Entry 3 and 4 are going to be more specific to your essay, and we will work on those in class in the next week, because I'll talk about the thesis statement and then how to organize your ideas. So that is one of the assignments to be working on. The other thing I want you to be thinking about is this documentation assignment. So there's documentation information. Those are new pages from our new textbook, as well as the rules for writers, obviously, that we have already looked at. But the documentation assignment is another thing that you'll be working on related to your argument essay. So the first thing you're going to do is just find 4 articles about higher education. Most students start to look for articles that are similar to the topic that they want to use for their essay, and that's fine, but you really just need 4 articles about higher education. And then for each article, you're going to do a works cited entry, a quote, and then a paraphrase. And so you might start thinking about working on this, might find some articles that you can use. In class next week, we're going to practice this. And so I will give you one of your 4 sources that you can use. You're going to use it in class to do one of these. So you don't need to have this one done yet, but you might start looking for sources. The last thing that you're going to work on in this unit is the critical thinking assignment, and you can start at this at any point. This is not related to your argument essay. So the pre-writing journal and the MLA documentation are to help you work on the argument essay itself, which we will do in the next unit, but the critical thinking assignment is separate. And basically the purpose of the critical thinking assignment is to get you to actually focus specifically on critically thinking. And so we'll talk about this more in class, but you might start thinking about the topic that you want to use. This is not an essay. This is an exploration of a controversial topic. And so you're going to be looking for a topic that is extremely controversial, the one that has the most differing viewpoints. And then specifically ones, I want you to be looking for ones that where the original place you might have seen it was kind of suspicious. So maybe you saw it on some kind of social media site. So we're exploring those extremely politically controversial topics. And then you're going to find sources about it and evaluate the sources, and then just write up. You're just answering the questions for this. So you're not writing an essay about it. You're just going to answer the questions. And this is just a way to further explore how information is given to us, the value of information, and that kind of thing. So I will talk about this a little bit more in class as well, and kind of go over some things that you might think about. So primarily what you're working on for next week is making sure that you do the readings quiz and start the pre-writing journal. If everyone has a good idea for what their topic is going to be, it will make it easier in class. We'll practice some documentation, and we will discuss thesis statements and outlining the essay, and then we'll get a little bit into that critical thinking assignment as well. Unit 3 is when we'll actually start writing the essay. So we'll have another class to work on drafting the essay, and then we'll do a peer edit, and then the essay will be turned in. So we have a little while before the essay is due. We're just getting you prepared for it here. So obviously, this had to take place of a class period. If you have any questions at all, let me know, especially as you start to turn in and get that stuff done from Unit 1, which is still due at the same time. So if you have any questions about that, if you have any issues, or you have you're not sure if your essay got turned in or something like that, please send me an email. You can always get a hold of me by email. So, and when you send emails, send it through your Allen account or through Canvas, because your Linden student email usually goes to my spam folder. So I will hopefully get to see you guys next week, and have a great week.